What if the absolute worst things that have ever happened to you, your deepest traumas, your biggest failures, and your darkest insecurities were actually the exact weapons you needed to become completely unstoppable? Welcome back to Rick's Summary, where we turn powerful books into life-changing ideas. Today, we are diving into the unbelievable true story of a man who transformed himself from a depressed, overweight exterminator into one of the toughest human beings on the planet. We are talking about the core principles behind David Goggins' incredible journey, drawn directly from his experiences. This isn't just a story about running miles or doing push-ups. It is a masterclass in human potential. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how to break through your own invisible limitations, rewire your brain for resilience, and completely take control of your destiny. Imagine waking up every day feeling like a complete failure. You are nearly 300 pounds. You spend your nights spraying for cockroaches in dirty restaurants. Your past is filled with the trauma of an abusive father, extreme poverty, and severe learning disabilities caused by toxic stress. You can barely read, and your future looks incredibly bleak. This was David's reality. He was living at the bottom of the barrel, numbing his pain with milkshakes and donuts, basically waiting to die. But one morning, after a horrific shift dealing with rats and roaches, he saw a television program about Navy SEAL training. He watched men pushing themselves through muddy obstacle courses, freezing in the ocean, and refusing to quit. That moment triggered the first major mindset shift we can all learn from: the accountability mirror. David went into his bathroom, wiped the steam from the mirror, and took a long, hard look at himself. He didn't offer himself fake positivity or gentle affirmations. He got brutally honest. He called himself out for his weight, his lack of education, and his habit of taking the easy way out. If you want to change your life, you have to start by telling yourself the undeniable truth. If you are out of shape, admit it. If you aren't working hard enough, own it. David started writing his goals on sticky notes and placing them on that mirror, holding himself strictly accountable every single day. To even qualify for SEAL training, he had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. He had to study tirelessly to pass a military aptitude test he had repeatedly failed. And he did it. He lost the weight, passed the test, and entered one of the grueling military training programs on Earth. But motivation is fleeting. What happens when motivation fades and you're plunged into freezing ocean water, sleep-deprived, and suffering through Hell Week, a 130-hour physical and mental crucible? This brings us to the concept of the calloused mind. When David was a kid, his hands were soft, but after lifting weights for years, his palms developed thick calluses that protected him from the rough steel. The brain works the exact same way. Every time you intentionally step into discomfort, you build a mental callus. David realized that all of the horrific abuse and racism he faced growing up wasn't just senseless suffering, it was the ultimate training ground. He used his past pain to build an armored mind. When the SEAL instructors tried to break him, he didn't play the victim, he actually smiled at them. He learned to find comfort in the most uncomfortable situations imaginable, which leads to a fascinating strategy he calls taking souls. In the middle of Hell Week, when his boat crew was exhausted carrying a heavy rubber boat over their heads, the instructors were mocking them, waiting for them to quit. Instead of breaking, David rallied his team. They didn't just carry the boat, they started throwing it up in the air and catching it, chanting and moving faster than ever. The instructors were stunned. By finding a second wind and showing strength when he was supposed to show weakness, David gained a tactical mental advantage. Taking someone's soul doesn't mean being cruel. It means performing with such undeniable excellence in the face of adversity that your opponents or your obstacles lose their power over you. Years later, David decided to run an ultra-marathon to raise money for the families of fallen soldiers.
He signed up for a 24-hour race where he had to run 100 miles. The catch, he hadn't trained for running at all. He was lifting heavy weights and was totally unprepared for endurance running. By mile 70, his body completely broke down. He had stress fractures in his feet, he was severely dehydrated, and his kidneys were struggling. Sitting in a folding chair, unable to walk, he had to find a way to keep moving.
This is where he tapped into the cookie jar. When you are in the depths of suffering, your brain begs you to quit. It tells you that your goal is impossible. To combat this, David created an imaginary cookie jar filled with all his past victories and the massive obstacles he had already overcome. He remembered losing the 100 pounds. He remembered graduating from SEAL training. Every time the pain hit him on that track, he reached into his mental cookie jar, took a bite of a past success, and used that emotional energy to take another step. We all have a cookie jar. Even small wins, like passing a difficult test or quitting a bad habit, are sparks that can ignite a massive resilience when you need it most. Because of that mental tool, David stood up, kept walking, and eventually ran 101 miles in under 19 hours. But how is that physically possible? How do you keep going when your body is completely destroyed? It comes down to the 40% rule. Think about a car that has a speed governor installed. Even if the engine can go 130 miles per hour, the governor cuts the fuel to keep it safe. Human beings have a governor too, and it lives in our minds. When your brain tells you that you are completely exhausted, that you have absolutely nothing left to give, you are actually only at about 40% of your true capacity. There is still 60% left in your tank. Your brain is just trying to protect you from pain and discomfort. If you can push past that initial wave of fatigue, if you can negotiate with your mind and refuse to quit, you will unlock reservoirs of energy and capability you never knew existed. Of course, pushing past your limits means you're going to fail, and failure is a crucial part of this journey. David attempted to break the Guinness World Record for the most pull-ups in 24 hours. He failed on national television. His body went into a dangerous state of muscle breakdown and his hands were ripped apart. He tried again months later and failed again. But he didn't just feel sorry for himself, he used the empowerment of failure. After every failure, he conducted an after-action report. He ruthlessly analyzed what went right, what went wrong, and exactly how he needed to adjust his strategy. He changed his equipment, his environment, and his pacing. On his third attempt, his hands were bleeding and he was in agony, but he pushed through and broke the record, completing 4,030 pull-ups. Failure isn't an endpoint, it's simply data for your next attempt. Now, here is the climax of it all, the moment that changes everything you think you know about physical limitations. Years into his career as an elite ultra athlete and Navy SEAL, David started experiencing severe health issues. His heart rate was spiking dangerously just from walking upstairs. He went to the hospital for an echocardiogram. The doctors found an atrial septal defect. Since birth, David had a literal hole in his heart. Because of this defect, oxygenated blood was mixing with non-oxygenated blood. For his entire life, through 3 hell weeks, through ranger school, through running 100-mile races, David's body was only functioning on about half of the normal oxygen supply. The doctors were absolutely baffled that he was even alive, let alone performing as one of the world's top endurance athletes. He didn't achieve greatness because he had superior genetics or natural talent. He achieved the impossible while operating with a severe physical handicap simply because he had completely mastered his mind. And that is the ultimate takeaway for you today. You do not need natural talent, you do not need a perfect childhood, and you do not need ideal circumstances. Your current pain, your unfair disadvantages, and your past failures are the exact raw materials you need to build an armored mind. Stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is unreliable. Instead, seek out discomfort. Schedule suffering into your life. Face your accountability mirror, pull from your cookie jar, and realize that when you feel completely done, you still have 60% left in the tank.
There is no finish line. You are capable of so much more than you can possibly imagine. If this idea helped you, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment below on how you're going to push past your 40%, and subscribe to Rick's Summary for more powerful book insights. Keep mastering your mind, and we'll see you in the next video.